Hey guys, Sharpend here, and in this video we're going to make the underwatery synth from Lorde's solar power. Here's the original, and here's the sound we'll be making today. Okay, so the synth that we're making today is from Lorde's new single Solar Power. It comes in at the second verse right here. And if I separate and take the mid away and leave only the side, it sounds like this. So you can hear it's sort of like some underwatery synthy thing. And in order to recreate that, we're going to be using Serum. So basically, it's a very simple patch. It's a saw wave, a low pass filter, and just some envelope things. So without the filter, it sounds like this. And the filter is very low on the cutoff. It has quite some resonance, fat is all the way, and drive just a bit with keyboard tracking. So what I'm doing is I'm using an LFO to slightly open up the cutoff of the filter to create a wah sound. And I'm using the volume envelope to remove sustain, add some release, and some attack. The attack is especially important to remove clickiness. We don't want that, so we're adding like 70 milliseconds of attack. And it makes it sound pretty good. In addition to that, I'm adding mono, legato, and portamento on always settings so that it glides between the notes ever so slightly. The portamento is on 10 milliseconds, so it's just a small glide. And then we need to make it underwatery. And in order to do that, I've used quite a lot of effects. We'll go one by one. So I'm starting with a compressor just to boost it and make it more even in its levels. As you can hear, it also introduced a bit of distortion because the attack on the compressor is 0. You can increase the attack and remove the distortion, but I kind of like the sound, so the attack is on 0 ms. And then I'm using this chorus emulation by Arturia, and it sounds just great. It already brings a lot of the character to the sound. Then I'm using this plugin, which is a Preamp, I think, and I'm using the gain on high to just add some distortion and a bit of color. So let's hear it before. It adds a bit of color and sounds more like a square wave that way, I think. Then I'm adding a tiny bit of tremolo. It's on 1/8 of a note, and the depth is at like 40%. Let's hear the depth on 100%. So as you can see, we don't need that much movement, so that's why I set it at around 40% wet. And then I'm adding a couple of other effects that really take this thing home. The first one is a delay at a very fast rating, 44 milliseconds, which gives us a ping pong delay sound. I'm sorry, I meant slapback delay sound. And because of the delay time is so short, it sounds almost like some very fast reverb. And it brings room to our sound, makes it sound a bit more underwatery in a sense. And in order to really take that home, I'm adding some phaser at like 10% wet, I think. Let's increase the wet so we can hear better. So it sounds pretty much like a phaser, but I kind of want it to be very neutral, not too phasey in its sound, so we can leave it at like 20%, I think. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. And then I'm adding an EQ just to remove the lows. There's this annoying clicky sound that Serum does, and I'm just getting rid of it. And that's pretty much it for this sound. One final thing that I've added is I've merged the stereo a bit to make it sound less wide. Let's hear it. The entire song by Lorde sounds very mono generally, and just has certain moments where the stereo really opens up. And this synth sounded pretty mono to me. It's probably panned to one ear or something. So that's why I've merged the stereo to make it less wide in that sense. One more thing that you can add is a formant filter. I've chosen not to use it, but it adds a more subtle sound to it. I've used the filter in Serum. You just go to Miss and then go to Formant. And when you activate it, what I did is I went to the formant, I right-clicked, and I clicked on Note on Random. So every new note, the formant would be different, and it sounds like this. So it's basically a more subtle version of it, a more filtered version. And it's really up to your taste, but both versions are pretty cool in my opinion. I like the more open version a bit more. And then you can add, if you want, like some delay to it. It would probably sound good as well, but I wanted to keep it close to the original. So with delay, it would be pretty awesome too. And I also suggest, if you have our synths, try making it in them. It's a very simple patch, and I think that Serum has a slightly colder sound that maybe this patch isn't perfect for, but I think it's the perfect way to demonstrate how to make it. So try it in different synths and let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next video. For more content, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well, and check out my playlists on the channel for other tutorials, track breakdowns, and my music as well.